I just got out of surgery. I'm having problems with my heart and it won't work. I did some shit in my past and it's cursing me. I'ma stay right here on this plastic, God take breath from me. I'm sipping his hand, he eat this pain, but it ain't helping. My little nigga going against the grain and that's just stressing me. I pray to God, let God have mercy. I'm living in crazy life. I just shot at a nigga for talking some shit on the gang. He paid the price. I was young in the rush for the money, my hunger for paper and save my life. And that shit can save tonight. If you want that lick shit, we can get rich quick, we can get paid tonight. Yeah, go. Dollar bill, y'all. Everybody want the money, everybody want this shit. Everybody want the money, but don't wanna go down. You gonna do anything to get it, but where you gonna go after? Shit, gotta think about it. 187. Murder for hire. You killed a nigga, you don't know if you gon' go to heaven. Gotta chalk that shit over, dog. Real talk. Hey, fight my demon. Fight my demon.
Fighting
me against these demons. Against these demons.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Love is love.
It's me against these demons. Me against these demons. Whoa, I'm fighting these demons up in this ghost. I'm fighting these demons, I'm on the ropes. They came with a beam up under my coat. Get hit in the spleen if you want to smoke. That money be green, so niggas on go. I'm looking so clean, I used to be broke. Remember they laughed at me and they choked. Gave them the ball, and nigga they choked. Tables turn, that nigga you go. My little nigga don't follow no code. Follow no code, no code. My nigga follow me like the pole. I stand on my word and stand by the consequence. They say I'm heartless, thanks for the compliment. I seen your dad, homie, yelling company. BMG gang, and bitch feel incompetent. Don't wanna hear that shit, I gotta kill that shit. Lethal ability, I can get ignorant. We not considerate. Niggas do silly shit, we get the drilling shit. QT,
what's going on? Love is love.
I can pull up in the high left.
Love is love.
Don't take no slander. Don't take no slander. Dollar bill, y'all. Everybody want the money, everybody want this shit. Everybody want the money, but don't wanna go down. You gonna do anything to get it, but where you gonna go after? Shit, gotta think about it. 187. Murder for hire. You killed a nigga, you don't know if you gon' go to heaven. Gotta chalk that shit over, dog. Real talk. Hey, fight my demon. Fight my demon. So many demons. Me against these demons. Against these demons.
Somebody say it.
Fight my demons. Fight my demons. Fighting my. It's me against these demons. Me against these demons. Living life encased in the idea that my evil thoughts go unpunished.
Fight my demons.
As I sort through the rubbish, my days of thugging get slow and ruggish.
Hey, love. How y'all doing?
Idolize the puppets who control the public like a controlled substance.
I hope everybody is blessed.
Bullets in abundance, anticipating what I know is coming.
I mean blessed as if
all of a sudden my past is blurring my future.
The universe is strange. It has a weird way of paying out, right? The universe has a weird way of paying out. But since today is April Fool's Day, right? I figured we get into talking about the manipulation of the world, right? We know how people are manipulating us on YouTube. I mean, we starting to point out and recognize different levels of manipulating, right? But let me tell you about the great manipulative, right? This is one of the great manipulatives. This is where you alter time, right? Where you change time, thus far altering history, thus far changing the outcome of the world, or what we think is the outcome, allegedly, supposedly, for entertainment purposes only. Okay? Grand Rising Golden. Hey, sorry I didn't make it yesterday. You got to let me know what time. See, my mind be so busy sometimes, and I got these periodic nap periods, and you was telling me about it during the nap period. Anyway, needless to say, That's the past. We're here now, always present. Love is love. Appreciate you for stopping through. Now, what I want to talk about is the trickery, right? All these holidays is based off of pagan worshiping, paganism. Some of them have blended into, reality as we know it, or what we think we know of reality, right? We're embarking on a great pivotal point at this time, right? Under the Aquarius sky, coming out of the 13th lunar cycle, right? So we're coming into a new era, right? A new era where the head becomes the tail and everything starts all over, right? We're ushering in a golden age. New levels of knowledge is coming in. Disclosure is being given, so on and so forth. So here we are with April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day. Now, if you look up April Fool's Day, you might see that it says something based on the line of possibly when they changed the Gregorian calendar in, or put the Gregorian calendar into play, they changed April 1st to January 1st. So what used to be considered the first of the year was changed from April 1st to January 1st. Now, the history goes a little bit deeper than that, going into the Brotherhood of the Snakes. The reason why St. Patrick's Day is because it was a process of eliminating what was considered the snakes, the serpents. It was a secret society. This society believed in the 13th, the power of the 13th, the mystery of the 13th. This is why certain hotels don't have a 13th floor, so on and so forth, because there was an elimination of the 13th. This is the mockery. This is the smuck. The 13th, the 13th um, month was actually called Soul. They called it Soul. And anybody can do this right now. You can look this up right now. You can do this right now. All you have to do is look up what year is that? 15. Look, matter of fact, look up 1752, right? In 1752, even if you look it up now, our calendars jump from Wednesday to Thursday, but it went from the 2nd to the 14th. This was when they were implementing the Gregorian calendar. So we have different gaps in our history that changes the Gregorian calendar, or that change the dates change in order to implement the Gregorian calendar, right? The 13th month was called Soul. They took that off the calendar, right? St. Patrick's Day was a implement of the serpents, or getting rid of serpents, which turns out it wasn't actually snakes that they were getting rid of. This was people. It was a bigger fight at this time, right? April was not one of the months that was added. In fact, the months that was added was July and August for, Julius and Augustus Caesar, right? So July and August was added. The rest of the months was pushed or circulated. Um, you know, September being 7, October being 8, November being 9, December being 10th, right? January, February being 11th and 12th, right? March being the last one, and April being the first of the year. Now, dates and times was changed according to what was given, the understanding of it. They kept on doing this. It was dates and times changed. I mean, all the way up into Constantine. Constantine even changed dates and times, right? So the if you look it up, you will see that, about the beginning of the 12th century, the plans were revealed by Moses B. Collingsworth, who eliminated the superphallus name, therefore simplifying the plan. The new 13th month was designed, and it was named Soul. That was the 13th month. They took it out, right? And you also had the 10-month calendar at the time. There was only 10 months in the calendar, where there was just 12 lunar cycles in a year. The months of January and February was added into the calendar, and originally fifth and sixth month was renamed July and August in honor of Julius Caesar and his successor Augustus, right? So these are the months that was added. Then certain months was moved around in order to fit this in. I think Ethiopia still goes by a different calendar right now. Ethiopia goes, I think they're in like the year 2016 or 2016 or something like that, right? But this, the reason why I bring this up is this just goes to show you that history changes all the time, right? History changes all the time based off the laws of whatever land you might be on, right? I'm pretty sure Africa, all these other places have a completely different marker on history, right? This is why a baker gives you, 13, as a baker's dozen, right? Because this is going back to, the 13th constellation, right? And that's what I want to get into right now, getting into the 13th constellation and the importance, the mystery of it, why they took it out, laws of the zodiac, right? We have to understand what it is to shift from a lunar to a soul cycle, right? The spirit rises in the lunar part of the vessel. So when it's a lunar to solar transfer, it's saying that the spirit rose out of the lunar and transferred into the solar. Now, this takes place on a grander scale. This is what's happening right now with the Aquarius sky. According to what they studied, allegedly, supposedly, for entertainment purposes only, they are saying that we are transferring collectively from a lunar to a solar. So we're at the end of the lunar cycle, the 12th lunar cycle, and we're about to enter the 13th, which is supposed to be the Aquarius sky, transferring over to the 13th, right? And that's supposed to be a great time, a time of ascension, a time of new beginnings, a time of mysteries and wonders, and so on and so forth. So we're experiencing this kind of, sort of, not really, giving a little bit of fight, giving a little bit of fight. And as you can see right here, it says that and this says Aries, right? Look at the Aries. Stage 1 is Aries. That means in this new time, Aries starts April 19th and ends May 13th. See what I'm saying? So Aries starts at a different time, right? So where Taurus used to be at, Aries now start. Aries becomes the head, right? Whereas though before, Aries would have been the tail, because Aries would have been at the end in a sense, right? Now that we're moving into this new, it goes back, which the new becomes the old becomes the new. Different things of this notion is happening right now, right? Guess what? This year, what happens on the 20th of this year, April 20th? You guessed it, Easter falls on that day. Ironically, it's showing you right here, stage 1 of Aries. It's showing you that this is going to be the first stage of the new era, the new time that we're in.
Stage 1, Aries,
Allegedly,
April
supposedly,
19th to
if
May
we still
13th.
went by this.
Alchemical theme, purification, calcination. Element, fire. The introduction stage of spiritual initiation is represented in the constellation of Aries. This is the beginning of the alchemical purification of one's consciousness through the process of exposure to fire elements and/or applying intense heat. The process of heating the body and aura to a high temperature, causing loss of moisture, reduction or oxidation, and breaking down into simpler substances to prepare to move blockages and debris. This is the activation process of the Kundalini fire purification of the flesh, bone, and blood. The Kundalini is activated in the tailbone and begins to travel upward in the central vertical channel and chakras. This reoccurs many times during the spiritual initiation stages towards enlightenment, but always follows the alchemical principles to conclusion. See Aries constellation.
So let's say that something is taking place and a transfer of energy is taking place into a new air, the Aquarius sky, right? Then according to the Aquarius sky, this would be the beginning. April 20th will mark the beginning of a kundalini rising, right? And this is going to take place in the vessels of mankind, allegedly, supposedly, for entertainment purposes only. Now, we can say that they're trying to slowly prepare us for this. You can say they're bringing us into a grander understanding of this. You can say that some people are fighting this under their Saturn mind, right? They don't want to move into an Aquarius sky. They don't want to move into a mindset of Uranus. Uranus is a childlike mind. Uranus is the child, right? They transfer from Uranus at the 40-year marker to the Saturn mind. So between 40 and 44, one transfer from a Uranus mind to a Saturn mind, right? This is why the Bible says anyone who makes a child do something, this is going back to the sky, not what we know as a child, which is, children of this earth. This is going back to the mind. So 40 years in the mind is considered a child. This goes back to the 40-year mystery school, right? So it's deeper than that when it comes down to a lot of this stuff, a lot of these teachings, a lot of this learning. When it comes back to this old knowledge that's supposed to return, that's supposed to come back, understanding that there was 13 zodiacs, understanding that there was 13 months on the calendar, understanding that 12 put together makes one. Even we marked it in everything. 12 inches make 1 feet, 1 foot. A baker give you 12, and going through the fire, a baker gives you 13 as a baker's mystery dozen, right? We named your stomach the bread basket. We named it the oven, right? What happens in the oven? Bread is baked in that, right? If you break down Bethlehem, Bethlehem actually means house of bread, right? So when it says that Christ was born in Bethlehem, it is just talking about the womb of mankind. It's talking about the bread basket. It's the same place that the Muslims depicted as the cave. The cave in the womb, the cave in Bethlehem is the same thing. You know, they told you the story in The Preacher's Wife. You remember when they did the play for the church, the little boy said, "Har, I think I hear Joseph and Mary in the manger," right? That was a pun because Joseph and Mary is the masculine and the feminine energy of the vessel that comes together to bring forth life inside the womb, right? So there was different markers that told us these different variations of truth. Now we might have missed them. We might have missed them. So as we enter this Aquarius sky, as we enter this new sky of light, that's knowledge, right? We can't do nothing but allow this knowledge to come back into this verse. The ether that's being poured back, the water, fire water that's being poured back into this verse. You can't do nothing, right? Your spirit is growing in a way where you can't fight it anymore. You have to get on your spiritual journey, understand yourself, whatever you want to call it. It's interrupting your dreams, if I'm not mistaken. Interrupting your sleep, if I'm not mistaken. Due to the fact that we are evolution, our children are becoming immune to things that we use to suppress this spirit, right? Our children are now immune to these things that we use to suppress this spiritual ascension thing, right? So our kids are going through it even more now. You see our kids, our youth, they're going through more mental problems than ever now. Some of them are reverting to outside substances or, other devices or whatever. So We know something is happening. We know it. We all feel it. You might not want to, try to say like this is that, that is this, but you feel it. You know something's changed. You know something is different. So we're looking at this new world now, right? They're trying to put this calendar back in place somehow, some way. I think they just don't know how to. They have to, everything has to start back over. They have to disclose certain variations of knowledge and stuff to us, right? But they also have to bring back this 13th, this important of this 13th. They have to put it back into circulation. You might not understand what I'm talking about, but some people know something greater is happening. This is why in the year of 2023, you've seen a lot of people come out and say, it's the chakras, the kundalini, the so on and so forth, right? Now, Plato wrote about this, right? Plato wrote you a story about the 10 months. There used to be 10 months before they added July and August and moved January and February to the beginning, right? It used to be 10 months. The 10 months was a representation of Poseidon's five births, or Poseidon five twins, right? So you had April going into Taurus, that counts as one twin, and then the next zodiac signs going into the other. These were considered twins of the universe. So when they told the story of Poseidon, this was how the story was passed according to the Atlanteans, right? And Plato, who wrote the story of the Atlanteans, right? So all of this stuff is vast bits of knowledge that is stretched out throughout our history that one can take and put together collectively, because you can't do this by just having one piece of it. You have to collectively put this together. In fact, if you was to go look at the Mayans calendar, this is the Mayans calendar right here in front of you. If you are on TikTok, feel free to go over to Energy of Atlas 111 on YouTube, or Ralph DaWise on YouTube, Ralph DaWise on YouTube, to get a picture of to see what I'm showing. But this is the Mayans calendar right here. If you go look up the Mayans calendar, and that's what I'm saying, because he wrote the book on what? Didn't Plato's write about Poseidon, Atlanteans, the Atlantics? Didn't he write about that? Said that he got the story. In fact, this is around the same time that playing cards came out. People don't know where playing cards came from. Why it's 52 cards, why it's four seasons or four suits, so on and so forth. This came from traveling the seas and the oceans, and all of a sudden, playing cards came out of the woodworks of all of these travels. People don't know that, before there was a queen on the chessboard, there was actually an archbishop on the chessboard before they separated church from state, right? So there's a lot of things that people don't know. You know what I mean? I would like to embark on a journey of turning that not knowing to a knowing. Like, we're in an age of knowledge. You'll hear more people say I know in this time than anything, right? And then more people, you could say I know what I know and that's all I know. And the reality of it is we know nothing, right? A wise man to tell you that they know nothing, right? We still got so much learning to do. We're only 10% into this. I'm trying to see what that other 90% is like. I'm trying to reach heights of intellects to have the ability to imagine that other 90% of reality that we don't see, right? Only 10% was given to the sun. So if only 10% of reality was given to the sun, then I'm prone to believe what we see with our physical eyes is only 10%. You get what I'm saying? One's in the chat. One's in the chat if you get what I'm saying. All right, but look, this is the Mayans calendar right here. The zodiac signs is around the sun that's in the middle, the earth that rotates around it. If you count 13 from the silver gate, you'll get to the golden gate. This is what the Mayans was telling us. The Mayans was telling us how to get to the golden gate. The Mayans didn't give us a calendar. The Mayans gave us a map. The Mayans told us how to get to the golden gate, to reincarnate through the gate of the gods and not through the gate of man, right? So that was actually a map of the universe that the Mayans gave us, right? And in the time of ascension, someone was going to be able to interpret it, that map, right? That's what they were telling people. Like, no one knows what this map is saying right now, but during the time of ascension, someone's going to tell you what this map is. Now, they later said that it was a map, but it was, they later turned it into a calendar and said it was a calendar, but it was the 13 lunar cycles that the Mayans was counting. Like, okay, we're 13 lunar cycles away from the ascension process. So the Mayans was showing that, right? The Incans, the Mayans, the Aztecs, all of them wrote this history, right? This is how it works. Now, what we changed it into is what we changed it into, and now we have to dare to embark on a different journey. Let's take a listen. Oh, you don't want to play? You don't want to play right on time, like at my
During
mark?
the month of October,
See, you
2023,
dirty
the
mother.
planet endured the next stage of bifurcation, whereby there was another major event with the separation of worlds between the lunar matrix distortions of the 3D zodiacal calendar positions and another new formation with corrected sun-star networks aligning the 5D zodiacal calendar positions. The corrected solar calendar positions for the ascending timeline zodiacal alignments have now begun. There is no turning back. These are the higher timeline positions of the sun-star networks that have been anchored into the trifurcate section with the triple solar copper rose gold failsafe Solomon Temple and Solomon Chalice Grail platform with 3 Solomon Magi Grail red kings holding the crystal star of Azoth, Christ Crystalla, connecting into the cosmic clock central clock shield that was generated for supporting the Aten god body. This position is where returning ascended masters from outside of our time matrix can enter into our reality and ride on the carrier waves of the White Lotus triple dragon breath channels of Lot, Lodi, and Loda into the Temple of Kemalohadia, located on the Rishik Plain. The ascending Christos starseed family on planet will either be anchored onto this central clock shield timeline within their personal base clock shield, or be able to commune in this area to reconnect with authentic ascended master spiritual family members in which to gain further support for their personal ascension process, find their genetic twin and receive spiritual guidance for carrying out their divine mission after the collective event. The corrected solar calendar positions generated a morphogenetic blueprint barrier between first density creations in the third dimension running on the lunar matrix zodiac and its artificial timelines, and the second.
Okay, now let me break this down because this is a lot of stuff that y'all probably are like, what? What is it saying? What is it talking about? So it's basically talking about a transfer of energy that takes place inside the vessel. Now, inside the body of mankind, there's a transfer of energy that takes place coming from the lunar side to the solar side. And this is where your spirit rises. This is where the Kundalini rises, right? So let's just say during a certain time period, mankind was punished into not being able to rise into the higher heavens of oneself, right? Blocked off from the 7 seals or the 7 kingdoms of self, right? And now that we're coming off of that punishment, right? Now we are going to be able to rise into these other kingdoms of self. So now that the ascension process is here, now that everything is moving the way that it's moving, we're at the end of the 13th lunar cycle, coming into a new cycle, Aquarius sky, which is said to rule for 26,000 years, according to the knowledge of what is past, right? So now we're coming into what rules the Aquarius sky. If there was a time of Pisces and we knew Saturn ruled the time of Pisces, time of fish, right? Now we're coming into this time of Aquarius. Christ himself said, "Do not be afraid, just follow the man with the fishbowl on his head." If you look at the man with the fishbowl on his head, that is a resemblance of Atlas. Atlas is considered to be he who holds up the constellation or holds up the sky. That is considered to be the fishbowl, the ether that is being pushed back into this earth, into this world, will start with Atlas, right? Because he is the first twin of Poseidon. I'm just saying, I'm putting some stuff together for you, and then I'm putting some stuff together for you, right? Christ said, "Do not be afraid of this new time. Just follow the man with the fishbowl on his head." Aquarius sky is a representation of the water bearer. Lucifer, comet, and the light bringer comes during the Aquarius sky. Therefore, Lucifer's comet coming into the Lyran constellation 420 of last year, and now Easter falls on 420 of this year. I don't think none of this stuff is a coinkydink. One's in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. One's in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. RC, you get what I'm saying though, RC, right? It's all lining up. I didn't put this lineup together. And then you would have to say that I was here from the beginning in order to put this type of lineup together. But somebody told us about this. Somebody told us about this lineup, this reline up. Somebody prepared us for this, said, "Hey, it's going to be a time that comes and this is going to happen, and the people need to be prepared for it." Now, whoever manipulated us, right? Whoever manipulated us, that's their problem. But it's over with now. We got if the knowledge is back, you know. If we wrote it in multiple books, we created it. I mean, you can go read Ecclesiastics. Is it Ecclesiastics? Ecclesiastics. Well, whatever it is, Ecclesiastics, whatever it's called, you can go read Ecclesiastics 12, and it'll tell you that this time was going to come where we would have to remember the creator of the text. Not, there's been many creators, but you have to remember the creator of the text, the shepherd, the one who etched all of this into the vessels of mankind for us to remember it during this time of ascension. Yeah, but that wasn't supposed to happen. Remember, if it was 13 with 28 months, every day your birthday will fall on the same day. If there was a 10 cycle, like the Poseidon, like they had it in the olden days, if it was a 10-month calendar, it would be even, right? This was the balance of, right? There's an offset balance. It changes frequencies, it changes everything. We're talking about stuff that we can't see. My grandma used to say stuff like, "Boy, if you only knew what blew in the wind." Yeah, but don't you know, like according to the writings on the wall, there was a time that the sun didn't, I mean that the moon didn't exist. Did you know that was the time that the moon didn't exist in the sky? They said the moon appeared in the sky.
This takes our consciousness through the stair-step of dimensional realms, moving through the ecliptic path of the gate of man or the silver gate to eventually complete the evolutionary cycle of 12 timelines, unifying into one organic ascension timeline, which intersects at the galactic center. Once we unify the many lifetimes of the stations of identity within our spiritual families, having consciousness experiences traveling through the gate of man by
Yeah, it was a time that the moon wasn't there. The moon just appeared. And they allegedly, they said that the moon was hollow. They said that sound reverted off of it. It was hollow, and so on and so forth. You know, according to what they said, that we lost the technology in order to get there, and it would take too much to get it back or something like that. And of course, the first moon landing tapes was destroyed because they said they was on budget and they had to destroy them. So we don't even have that anymore. So and this was during our race for space. You know, every continent was at a point where they was racing for space, right? And this could have changed a lot of stuff. Now that's the thing about the sun. If the sun, you know, the sun is considered to be a star, right? And these stars, they are born, they come, they go, right? We don't really know about the sun, right? We look at what's going on, and according to one of these countries, they're trying to make an artificial sun, right? You know, we look at another conspiracy theory where they say the sun and the moon enters Antarctica, you know, on a cycle. So, do we really know what it is that we know? Something's definitely off. I've been looking up some stuff. I've been looking into some stuff, you know. Now, you know, with us being 70 something percent water, but only exploring 10% of our oceans and seas, and that's with sonar. You know, without sonar, we only explore 5% of our oceans and seas.
intersecting with the galactic equator positioned at Ophiuchus' feet, we are potentially given access to drink the magical healing elixir of eternal life. These are the magical Elasian living waters of the eternal fountain of youth that are made famous in many storybook tales as the source fountain of the Holy Grail. The Azothian divine fire water flows of the holiest spirits that are embodied by the cosmic mother's representatives as triple solar goddesses, the Sophianic bearers of the Holy Grail that are found at the intersection of the Golden Gate. The enduring love we have inside our crystal hearts for the Holy Mother allows us to proceed on the ascension path to become resurrected into eternal spiritual beings of the sacred Crystalla.
Now, a lot of y'all might be thinking, what does this mean? What does this entail? What does this have to do with anything? Right? This is not something that is a physical, like the physical transformation of this is a deeper understanding for what is, always was, and always will be, right? It's a deeper understanding for that, right? So, in order for us to see a new earth, we first have to see a new heaven, right? It says we're going to see a new heaven and then a new earth, right? Now, we have to understand that as above, so below, as without, so within, right? Heaven is inside of you. Seek all knowledge for the kingdom of heaven. So it's telling you you're supposed to put knowledge inside your vessel for your kingdom of heaven, which is inside of you, right? It says, seek all knowledge for the kingdom of heaven. If the kingdom of heaven is inside of you and you seeking knowledge, you seek knowledge that's outside of you to put inside the heaven that's inside of you, so on and so forth, right? So we have to see a new heaven before we see a new earth. So obviously, something is taking place with our procreation process and our knowledge, right? The more knowledge that we have inside of us and the more discipline that we have over our vessel, the greater our youth will come out, right? This is the process of Christ-like beings, right? To where as though if we just doing what we want, so on and so forth, living down here like animals, thinking of all this negative stuff, we are creating antichrist like beings, right? The biblical text says there's only two type of beings down here. It says there's only Christ like beings and antichrist like beings, right? So what type of being are you being? Right? That's the only real question. What type of being are you being? Are you being Christ like or are you being anti-Christ like? Are you denying that you are a part of creation? See, a lot of people walk around and they deny that they're a part of creation. They walk around and think that they're outside of creation. By doing this, you separate yourself from the creator. A lot of people always ask or question, did God turn his back on us or did we turn our back on God? That's the question, right? Well, I would say that we turned our back on God, the universe, source. And now explain how. Through some levels of history, man has figured out how to disguise the vessels from the universe, which is by putting all this low vibrational meat in our body, right? Not going through a fasting process, right? By separating us from Earth's consciousness, which is Gaia. Nobody grounds anymore, right? By separating us and distancing us from each other, the unity that we should have for each other, the love that we should have for each other, right? These are all things and tactics that are used to separate us from the universe, from source, right? That oneness, right? So, somewhere in the history of us, someone figured out how to separate us from us, right? And now we have a chance to get back to that collective consciousness, that level of collective consciousness, right? That is really, it's almost beyond anything else, right? So there's a lot of grid work that has to take place for this collective consciousness because it's not just a collective consciousness of what you think, right? This is a willing collective consciousness. You look around and a lot of people are a part of a collective because of the group, the benefits, the survival means of it, right? Because it's helping them this and helping them that, and the group is this and the group is right. It's all carnal needs, right? The spirit has nothing to do with that. So in preparations for this level of collective where people are in control of their own mind, in control of their self, taking accountability, having a sense of moral compass, so on and so forth, like this is a different variation of collective because this is a collective of oneness that allows you to see your own independence, right? Which is considered to be a cosmic citizen, right? Now, you still have laws of this land, but in the cosmos, you are free. This is in your mind. In your mind, you are as free as you want to be, right? This is when you're allowed to embark on a journey of the mind, right? This is where you can actually achieve higher levels of elevation inside of oneself. It's in the mind. It is the greatest playing field. It is what the Vikings said. It is an honor to, unalive on this field. This is the battlefield that, you know, the pagans was talking about, the battlefield of the mind. This is what the Greeks studied, the mind. How do you think they know that the medulla oblongata is a heart-shaped part of the brain? How do you know? How do you think they know that? That means they've been cracking skulls since cracking skulls was cracking skulls. They used to literally study the shape of people's skulls and say that certain people had certain things that was etched on the inside of their skull. This is what reflected off of their dome to create the reality that they live in, right? We're all creating different variations of reality, allegedly, supposedly, right? We're all creating these different levels of reality. This is what makes us multidimensional beings. This is why Christ said things on a line of, I'm going to a place to build many kingdoms, or there's many kingdoms in my Father's house, so on and so forth, because he was referring to a place within inside himself. See, the Bible told us about a story of the first unaliving process where you leave your father and enter your mother, right? Now, nobody can attest to this level of a story. Nobody can remember a time when they were in the vessel of their father. Nobody can't remember that. That means you superseding past the seed development stage. In the womb of your mother, you develop, right? And this story is telling you about inside the Father, right? Nobody can't really fathom that, right? This is why the book of Revelation say, he who rises above the carnal nature will not experience a second unaliving. Think about that. It didn't say the first unaliving. It said he who rises above the carnal nature will not experience the second unaliving. That means this physical unaliving is the second. That's deep, right? A lady goes to a gynecologist, you'll find out that the seed of man actually stays within a woman for how many days? 3. That's deep. Christ was a representation of that seed. When he unalived, when did he rise again? On the 3rd day. That's deep. Who was there when he rose again? Mary and Mary. Oh, that's deep. You mean his mother? So he rose within the vessel of his. Oh man, that's deep. That's deep. Because this is talking about being in the vessel of a woman now, right? Passing on that seed, that Christ seed, moving from the father into the womb of the mother. And that action still takes place to this day. In every fornication process and everything that we do, we used to have or know an importance of the transfer of fluids. There was a ritual, right? Remember, they had chambers that harnessed this energy. They had chambers that harnessed this energy. What do you think Nebuchadnezzar and them was doing? What do you think all these people were doing? They were manipulating the sacral chakra and the powers of it, right? Channeling, chanting, music playing, euphoria. What do you think Diddy was doing? What do you think they were doing? What do you think they were doing with this energy? What do you think loose energy is when they talk about that and how that, all of this stuff? People don't want to look into the depths of it because they like people, for some reason people are scared to learn. When I was reading books when I was younger, people used to try to tease me. Like, man, what you reading a book for? What are you reading a book for? You look like a bookworm. You did. Like they used to literally try to tease me. But I knew it. I said, nah, one day this knowledge is gonna be needed. I said it. I was, even when I was like drawn to Zachariah Stitchins, when I was drawn to the Emerald Tablets, when I was drawn to, the story of Zeus and the Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Mayans, Incas, Aztecs, Pompeii, and like all of these different stories, markers in history, Alexander the Great, all of these different things. I was drawn to these things for a reason. Learning Ichabod, flying too close to the sun, all of these different things that I was like, man, there's a reason for all of this. I stopped looking at separations and started looking at similarities, and I started making a connection with all of these different books, 66 books of the Bible, but they're all telling the same story. right? I started making the connection. Greek, all of this stuff, when it talks about the Jewish, and the Jewish say that the waters were separated. And I'm like, okay, what is this water that was separated? It was cherubs and cherubs that was in the water that was separated. So, oh, what is cherubs and cherubs? All of this stuff. I started looking into this stuff to get a deeper understanding of it. Come to find out, all three of these books are the same. The Torah, the Quran, the Bible, all of them are the same. Look, one is giving you the story from a mental conversation. That's the Quran. The Quran is giving you the story of the body of man with a mental conversation. They go to mind, right? The Jewish is giving you the story from a spiritual conversation. They go to spirit. And the Bible is giving you the story from a physical walk through the body. They go to body, right? Now that's the mind, body, and spirit, the Trinity, right? Is split between these three books, right? And the only way you can actually get the unification of it is to put these books together, right? This is why eventually, after going through their jihad, after going through this holy war within inside themselves, this is why a lot of Muslims will seek Christ, right? Because they'll come to the realization that it's all needed, it's all one. The mind going into the body going into the mind to reach the spirit, so on and so forth, right? So the unification starts with the knowledge of stopping the separation. That's where the unification comes in. Stop trying to seek separation. Stop trying to seek differences. Start making it a custom to seek similarities, finding that common ground, right? You have to find that common ground with one another. A lot of people are not seeking that common ground. So there's a lot of unification that's going to take place in the future that is going to be unknown to man. And that's because there's a lot of things that's being revealed right now. If I'm not mistaken, Muslims are still within their month of Ramadan right now. And a lot of them, will seek a different variation of energy coming out of this Ramadan. So we'll see how this works out.
At the end of
Allegedly,
2017,
supposedly.
the planetary body is shifting into the higher frequency band that is located in the next harmonic universe. This event will change the planetary coordinates, planetary timelines, thus changing where the planet is actually located in universal spacetime. The collective consciousness in the planet has been shifting through dimensional frequency bands quite regularly during the ascension cycle. However, what portends this will be a major collective consciousness shift is that the planet is rolling up the lowest three frequency bands, 1D, 2D, and 3D, into the higher frequency bands in the next harmonic universe. This means that the lower three-dimensional frequency bands will cease to exist in the planet. All that will remain is the frequency accumulation that the collective inhabitants generate in their own consciousness, which are the energies that form from their own mental beliefs, behaviors, and actions. The people that remain in the third-dimensional consciousness after this shift will find themselves increasingly uncomfortable, extremely pressurized, and unhappy. Thus, many will feel the squeezing pressure to transform rapidly through the alchemical theme of polarity synthesis, which helps to bring completion to these old karmic patterns from the past, if we are willing to let them go. This purging process will add or subtract the required blueprint patterns that we may need to meet these new coordinates in the Earth grid, and to help clear out the unstable or dark force influence in our lives. We are being purged deeply, and the remaining content is processed into higher light and consciousness, to be stabilized and synthesized into the body, in order to improve energetic coherence and spiritual strength. Our responsibility now is to practice unconditional love to all that we see, and to see everything and everyone around us as connected to the unified whole. At the same time, we make clear intentions of where we place our consent, in higher authority. This loving intention and compassionate practice will keep our heart open and aligned to the source field, and will make the transition much more comfortable. The deep reconfiguration that is transpiring within the planet's holographic geography is affecting the operation of stargates, power vortices, ley lines, and ray force transmissions. As a result, this trickles down into the collective consciousness of the human race, directly impacting the consciousness functions of the human light body, spiritual identity, and timelines. The macrocosm architecture is undergoing a radical shift, and this in turn manifests a chain reaction that profoundly alters the configuration of the human energy field and light body. Events that profoundly alter our energy field produce radical changes in our lifestyle and relationships.
Now, breaking that down into what it's saying, it's basically saying that we will see a rapid change. We will all have part of this, right? Right now, they're saying that the solar flares is changing stuff, so on and so forth, allegedly, supposedly, right? Love is love. Appreciate you for stopping through. Namaste, Ashe, salutation, shalom, peace. Um, so yeah, so we're experiencing a lot of this stuff right now, right? There's definitely a collective shift going on. We all feel some type of change. Some of us are getting right, and then some of us are manipulating the ones that are trying to get right. This is where people play on your feelings and emotions, cohortions of the heart. Everyone is having this spiritual, let me try to make something good in the world, right? People are donating to different variations of things, trying to do, some people are, liquidating their assets in order to try to rebuild, looking for some new type of passion, right? One's in the chat, if you feel that energy, that passion energy that's saying like, hey, get out there, there's something new out there to embark on. There's a new group out there for you. One's in the chat if you feeling that. If you are used to being a lone wolf or the black sheep of the family, tell me the air is not different now. Tell me there's not something different in the air saying like, hey, now's the time to unify. Now's the time to go out there. Whatever it is that we were searching for is out there, right? But we know it's on the internet. This is why we keep on going back to the internet. A lot of people want to say like, oh, you're addicted to your phone, you're addicted to the internet. No, 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 no. There's a sound, there's a conversation that I'm looking for. There's some type of conversation or group that is speaking on the internet somewhere, and I need to find it because that's my group, that's my soul group. Like, you'll hear it, you'll know it when you might run across a couple of groups that's manipulative, but you're gonna run across that group that's gonna be like, yeah, this is it. This is it. Time don't exist within that group. You like, yo, this is it. This is it. You know what I mean? So however you looking at it, like, something is changing. Some of y'all might have found those groups, right? And now you're finding out like, damn, the group ain't what you thought it was. It only was a small, bandage, because it didn't have that universal thing to it that accept everything, right? It was always like some type of this disagreement in the group, right? Because it was like, we accept this, we don't accept that, right? Even now, like, there's a lot of feminine energy, right, that's looking for that masculine. Don't listen. I ran across a lot of groups already. There's feminine groups right now that's looking for that masculine energy that seems to tame that feminine for whatever reason it is. There's a a a, a calling, if you would say, right? There's something inside the vessels that's making us search. Some of us coming to the realization that we need to be leaders, some of us coming to the realization that we need to find this group, some of us coming to the realization that we need to find a person. Some of us, we're all like journeying right now on some level, right? Our currency is changing. Our operation of our currency is changing. Our life water is changing inside of us. We feel it. We might not understand what's happening, but we're feeling it, right? This is the harmonic universe, right? This is where the density of like hormones, this is why it's called harmonic, because it plays on that fluid inside of you, the harmonic hormonal fluid inside the vessel, right? It changes with the sun, and as it enters and goes through these different dimensions of the light body, right? It goes through, like, so it has to come in through the 12D, but then by the time it gets to the physical, it done altered, right? This comes with knowledge too. The universe might be sending knowledge, through the light down here, but by the time it goes through the dimensions of the vessel, by the time it gets to us, the knowledge is coming through in a argument of, you should do this, you should do that, you should do, so you got these two voices on your shoulder, so to speak, in a sense, if that makes sense. Just it'll make sense later. Don't worry about it. Now, when you think about a harmonic universe, just think about the hue that is in man, right? Or what the Greek might have called the Holy Ghost, Holy Spirit, the breath of life, right? So when you think about a harmonic universe, it is HU, the hue that's in man, right? So you got man, and then you got hue man, right? Now, some people down here might be man. I'm not sure. Can't say. But there is the hue that is in man. Not everybody is a hue man, right? This comes with consciousness, right? Until you are willing to accept that there is a consciousness inside of you, then you're not accepting the hue that is in you, right? So when you don't accept the hue that is in you, you are unconscious. You're an unconscious being. Oh, yeah, you still know how to function. You know how to go to work, eat, sleep, do things with the flesh, that things get done with the flesh, fornications and everything like that. You still function, right? You just an unconscious being. You don't have this is the difference between somebody who's looking to make that great difference in the world, be that change in the world, and someone who's looking to just, man, look, we just here, man. I'm going to work every day doing, this is the carnal mind, right? You have carnal minded people down here. This is an unconscious state. This is the reptilian part of the brain. This is the survival part, right? It has nothing to do with the spirit. The spirit wants to bring forth a greater change. The spirit knows that it's something deeper down here. The spirit knows that we're powerful beyond measures. The spirit remembers something, right? The carnal, it is going to take care of the carnal. The carnal going to take care of the carnal. When you're going to eat, when you're going to sleep, when you're going to do this, when your body needs rest, everything like that. But the spirit knows, like, no, we had a deeper connection. Why is it that during the time of a multi-God system, was they more connected to the spirit than now during a one God system? So during a multi-God system, they had a greater connection than now. Now we don't have no connection with the spirit. We have no connection with the universe. We have no connection with each other. We are cut off. Why? Why? We have technology at the tip of our fingertip that will allow us to unify with each other. Right? The biblical texts tell us, how can you love me who you never seen, yet hate your brother who you see every day? This was basically telling us the only way we can show the universe how much we love the universe is to show each other how much we love one another, right? This is cosmic karma. When I show someone how much I love them, I get that back in return from the universe. The universe blessed me with that. Why is so many people so quick to walk around and teach people how to hate? Why is everybody having the audacity to teach people how to hate? I see adults cheering bad kids on. Yeah, that's my type of kid right there. The bad, disrespectful one. Yeah, that's the one. I make it make sense. We can't fix the world until we change what it is that we perceive in this world, right? And you want to perceive a better world, we got to start favoring the better stuff that's going to favor knowledge. Let's not favor these kids that's, getting by because they look good. They come in with a nasty attitude, but they got the face of something, though. Look at the idols that's in place right now. They not giving the ain't Michael Jackson ain't out there. It ain't no heal the world, make it a better place. They not doing that. You see what they doing. P. Diddy done took out Michael, all types of stuff. How is P. Diddy's head bodyguard the same as Michael Jackson's doctor that took him out? Come on, how is your head body? They said that it was all connected. Okay, I'm spiraling. I'm sorry. I'm spiraling. I'm sorry. I'm spiraling. Deep breath. It's going to take a collective, you know? We got to collectively want this. We got to collectively bring in this change, right? There, even with the spectrums of frequency, you know what I mean? We can collectively do it. We can collectively do it because the world is actually looking for a new nation, Remember, nations are born. You know what I mean? Nations are born. So right now, a new nation is being born right now. A new spiritual community is rising right now. Now, of course, we still have to go through the different variations of what they put out there. You know, there's false communities out there trying to make you, fraudulently step into something by making themselves seem like they're the chosen one. They're, the Christ seed. Christ said many is going to come in his name. I mean, he never said he was going to come in his name. In fact, he said, follow the man with the fishbowl on his head. But, and he also said, you'll know me by my works, my deeds, my actions, whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of people right now, looking for you to follow, looking for you to take up the fight. They telling you, Ronnie Bo is basically trying to start like a Malcolm X type thing, right? Where he says that him and Jaguar is like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King getting together, you know? So he's already, Jaguar and them is already on some do you want a revolution? They think they Kurt Franklin, think they about to, bring in God's people and take them to Armageddon or something. While they build off the back of it, they're gonna tell you to go in and fight. And they're gonna sit back and build, nonprofit organizations like Cruelty Free and go after, TV shows and stuff like that. But guess what they want you to do? They want you to fight. It's Armageddon, it's war. That's all she screams out, right? She got a nerve to talk about my mama. Yeah, Jaguar, right? And I seen that too. She actually put me in the title the other day. She put me in her title. What? The nerve of her. The nerve of her. I didn't mess your direction up. You messed your direction up. You out here doing all types of abominable things. I'm just letting the universe know about it. That's all. As an observer, I'm just an observer. And the universe seen your ass through me. And now you getting all the karma you deserve. Yeah, that was happening. A lot of them are trying to get right. Some of them are trying to get right. You see Maggie ass. You see Maggie ass. Maggie ass like, I'm gonna try something different. Let me try something different. Maggie say, I'm gonna try to be the not so mean girl. I'm still a mean girl, just a not so mean girl. How about that? How about that? Can I be the not so mean girl? That's why I told y'all back in she trying. You right, she trying. Hey, listen, the universe could work with a try. Hey, this is why I told y'all back in January, we wasn't about to usher in that type of energy coming into April. Remember, I said that back in January. I was like, yo, listen, we is not about to usher in that type of energy coming into April, coming into this new sun. No, no, no. We is not doing it. I'm not gonna take it. No, I'm not gonna take it. You know what I mean? This is dangerous. You got to be careful with these energies now. But I think she's got room to grow though when it comes to like her platform, how she's going about it. I think there's room to grow in there, right? We all got that room to grow. All right. So when you are aware and allegedly, supposedly, you know what I mean? These are all just for entertainment purposes, for the sake of conversation. We just like to embark on a new journey within our mind. And that's it. This is just speculation talk over. Okay. So let's just say there was some type of frequency, spectrum of frequency that came in through the light, through vibrations and sounds and variations of colors that actually affected a plasma that is around your physical body. Let's say there's a plasma around your physical body. Like, let's say we all have a bubble around our physical body, and some type of energy is, transforming from inside of us to form this bubble that's outside of us. And the light is affecting the bubble that's around us and also affecting us physically, right? These spectrums of the light, right? Let's say different variations of energies are coming in through the light that is affecting different chakras inside the vessel. This is why sunbathing is good, taking in certain levels of the sun, right? Um, and let's just say like it's also altering some fluids, heating up this, creating gases here, that say this is considered to be the fire that's inside the water of the vessel, right? It's affecting the ether. inside of you, right? She's doing a good job, man. Maggie's doing a good job at her purification, you know. I see her cautiousness. You know, I see her, you know, trying to build that space that people are comfortable going to. And I see her growing within that space too. She probably hasn't figured out what it is that she can do herself, right? Right now, she's just lingering on the Jaguar right thing. But eventually, I think she'll find that thing that's hers, right? She might just, you know, be fixated on this right now, but out of this might come some type of direction that she can put her page into, and she's figuring out. She needs that Haitian voodoo protection from Jag. Hell no, hell no. She's got her own variations of Haitian voodoo protection, you know. I'm just trying to do my part. You know, I see like I'm just trying to do my part. That's all.
Awareness of our light body, the human energy field and spectrum of frequency supports the beginning of understanding that all and everything around and within us is an energetic form and vibratory quality and rate of frequency. In our ascension model, we recognize and work with 15-wave spectrum of frequency that correlate directly with the universal rays, see the universal time matrix, and our individual chakra systems. We are pure energy and consciousness, and with that there are very specific locations within our light body that an individual's choice of expressing emotion, thought, memory, and experience all contribute to the manifestation of experience and form into physical matter. This will help us to become self-sovereign within our personal power and responsible manifestors in the world of form, thus experiencing a much greater range of joy and fulfillment in the unlimited possibilities of co-creation.
Now, this is basically saying like our you know, our light body, right? Our consciousness, the energy that's inside of us, right? We're energy and consciousness, right? So through this energy and consciousness, we send these things through our light body so one can express different variations of feelings and emotions, right? You remember some of this stuff in your light body. You remember these abilities inside oneself to manifest. You remember this in the form of, you know, maybe speaking someone into existence, you know, putting thought on something and then, you know, your phone ringing, or, you know, concentrating on a thought and then it appears in an app on your phone. These could be different forms of manifesting, right? Using technology, because there's ether in technology, right? Melanin inside of the system, however you want to look at it. So there's different variations of manipulating this melanin. You know what I mean? Yeah, we had conversations before. Jaguar is mean. She just called me a dummy. She's like, shut up, dummy. I'm trying to talk, dummy. And then she's like a spoiled kid. You know what I mean? She's like a spoiled kid. Like she has to get her way. She's not gonna stick around to listen to somebody else. She's that like I'm about to say what I'm gonna say and then I'm gonna leave. You know, kind of like all of them do. Like all of them have that like I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, then I'm gonna leave, right? You know, the not, you know, well, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say and then I'm gonna go. You know, Mike did the same thing. And I'm not staying up here to listen. I'm going to listen from the Raptors. Like, you know what I mean? They all do the same thing. It's the easiest thing to do is just laugh at them, right? They're whereas though like whereas though we as a collective might seek closure for certain situations, they don't never want certain situations to close. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, she don't like people that make sense at all. She do not like people that make sense. She listen. I have this ability, the gift of gab. And a lot of people like to try to battle intelligence with me for some reason. They like to do this whole battle of wits thing where they like, I got you, like, and it's like, come on. He think he knows about energies and chakras, and I got you. And then you got to go through that shit. And that's also fun. It's all fun. It's all fun. Shh. It's all fun. All right. So energy is conscious, right? And then you have the rate of frequency that plays on that energy that is conscious, right? So when you have these different variations of energies, you have a manipulation of it. And that's the sound frequencies, right? And then you also have what takes place with the light. You know what I mean? You have to think about like sound playing off of light, bouncing off of sound back and forth, right? And us being in that wave somewhere, right? Where we're getting hit with these energies, right? When planets line up and stuff, it's energies that's being pushed down here that's running through this verse, right? And as it runs through this verse, it changes the currency of the multitude. So this is why so many people are daring to see something different in this world. It's not that we're bold or emboldened or, trying to be rebellious or anything like that. We're daring to see this world anew, right? We're yearning for something new. We're yearning for, a new, a lot of people is like, I want a new passion, I want a new dream. A lot of people stop dreaming, now their dreams are coming back, we're dreaming new dreams now, we're released from that fear. So a lot of people dream state is changing. Now, of course, some of y'all still are shaking off fear, and let me help you by saying 97% of the things you fear do not come true to reality. So don't allow a 3% to make that much of a difference in your life, in your reality. Okay. It's only a 3% chance. 3%. You can't, come on. You ain't scared of 3%, are you? Come on. Come on. One's in the chat if you're not scared of 3%. You ain't scared of 3%. Nobody's really, it's 3%. Come on. Not scared of 3%. Huh? All right. So energy is consciousness. You times that by the rate of frequency, you're able to change your conscious frequency, thus far shifting into different dimensions, thus far being able to become a multidimensional being based off of your conscious. See, if everything is existing at the same time, then there's something in that other verse that is operating as you or a piece of your conscious. So when you're able to do the rate of frequency, so on and so forth, inside the vessel or the mind, you can shift into these other things that could be in your operation in these other dimensions. Like, think about Jet Li in that movie, The One, right? Think about that. Like The One. Think about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Energy is consciousness, and it either contracts or expands to maintain or increase its rate of frequency. The process of how fast or slow energy contracts back towards its center point of source field is the vibration rate. The process of how fast or slow that same energy expands away from the center point of the source field is the oscillation rate. The combination of both the pattern of vibration, contraction, and oscillation, expansion, speed is what determines the frequency rate of all energy and things. As our personal, collective, and planetary consciousness raises frequency, the matter world, including our physical bodies, also becomes less dense as our frequency increases. 1.
And more recently, someone just sent me a text message that said something on the lines of Godspeed. And I was trying to figure out if they really knew what Godspeed was, right? Because they sent me this message and they said Godspeed, right? And at first I thought, okay, they got it from Star Trek, something that they said on Star Trek, Godspeed, live long and prosper, and then I thought about it like, nah, this person is not that smart. And then I realized they got it from somebody else, and then the universe confirms to me that they got it from somebody else. And then I say, so this goes back to hurt people hurting people, right? This person sent me a message using a phrase that was sent to them that hurt them through somebody else that made promises that they were going to take care of them, right? This person literally tried to live off of somebody else. Literally tried to live off of somebody else. You know why they got mad? Because this person brought up a baby, right? You living off of this person. You plan on going to Brazil and living off of this person. This person's supposed to take care of you. You supposed to be their little sugar baby. He wanted to be a sugar baby. That's terrible, man. That boy wanted to be a sugar baby. He was out there looking for a sugar mama. Huh? Huh? They're not on some Akon shit. Lonely. I am so lonely. I have nobody. You is so sad, my boy. You so sad. Okay. So the seed atom is changing, the permanent seed is changing, the universes are changing, right? This goes into a universal tree, right? This is saying that there's different stages inside of the soul of mankind, right? And this is saying that this is an extension. Your soul is an extension of this consciousness, right? So these are different levels of consciousness.
When we intend to connect with the organic architecture of our Christos blueprint, this helps to heal and integrate our soul extensions and monadic extensions. Our soul and monad is a family of consciousness that contains extensions that are existing simultaneously in other dimensional timelines. The first level of spiritual awakening is connecting with our soul consciousness and extensions. Our soul family is comprised of 12 different individual personalities.
Hold
As we
on.
integrate,
Stop right there.
complete soul
No,
integration leads us to
stop. You said our soul family is compressed of 12 different individual personalities. Damn. That's the 12 disciples of oneself. The 12 different personalities. That's what Christ put together. Christ put together the 12 different personalities of oneself, the aspects of the consciousness within inside of one body. This is why it's 66 books of the story of one man, because Christ put together the 12 that was inside of mankind. They decided to call them disciples, right? But these were just 12 personalities of mankind inside of himself. These 12 personalities might have came with 12 different timelines. 12 different shifts, all the way to a Zeus. That's where the monarch mind is at. The monarch is when you realize that Greek mythology, right? Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, right? All connect, right? So these are stories that's connected to the vessel of mankind. This, there's people running around that knows and feels these stories are connected. It's making sense now.
To the higher integration of our first level of spiritual awakening is connecting with our soul consciousness and extensions. Our soul family is comprised of 12 different individual personalities. As we integrate our soul consciousness, we integrate these 12 aspects within our consciousness body, and this unifies the triad of the entire soul matrix, so that we experience our emotions and the forces of love in entirely new ways. Complete soul integration leads us to the higher integration of our monadic matrix or oversoul matrix, which contains 12 oversouls, each containing 12 souls within them, for a total of 144 monadic or oversoul extensions.
Now pause right there again, right? That says that when we integrate into our monadic matrix is understanding Greek mythology, Roman mythology, because the Zeus ruling the sky, it means Zeus rules the heaven, and Poseidon rules the ocean, means Poseidon rules the body or the ocean of the body, whatever. And then Hades rule in the unalive place, which is the dead skin, the flesh, right? So this is the monarch, understanding the breakdown of Greek mythology and how it plays to the vessel of mankind. The land of Egypt was never a place on the map. The land of Egypt is actually the body, right? So the Nile River, all of that stuff, this is talking about the spinal cords and the fluids that move up the spinal cord that goes into different variations of nervous systems of the vessel, right? Going into the atlas bone that is in the neck, that goes into the climax, the dubla oblongata, which is known as the thinking place. That's why I said, though a man thinketh in his heart, so shall it be, right? Because the thinking place is the dubla oblongata, which is the heart-shaped part of the brain, right? Now, this goes back to what I was saying. When this person said Godspeed, I was wondering if they knew what Godspeed was, because in the universe, there's 3 speeds. There's the speed of sound, the speed of light, and then Godspeed, which is the speed of thought, right? This is why thought ran wild. This is why in the story of thought, he ran rapid, because this is when you give in to the bad thought. And also, as above, so below, as without, so within. If you look at some of the old maps, thought was considered the moving island. It was the island that moved around. Thought ran wild. People are not in control of their thought. They're not doing everything to control their thoughts, right? All of this stuff lead back to the vessel of mankind. All of these mythologies, all of these stories, they lead back to the vessel of mankind, controlling the vessel of mankind. 72 demons of the soul of man, right? Bowel worshiping, bowel movement, so on and so forth, right? Sodom and Gomorrah, sodomize. All of these different things lead back to the vessel of mankind, right? Pioneer being named a place that you see God. Pioneer being your third eye, right? Jerusalem being the high place, right? Bethlehem being the birthing place, the center, the bread basket. Nazareth being the feet, also represented as Christ in the time of Pisces, represented as a fish, right? So there's different variations to this story, to this knowledge, right? But you have to understand this Holy Spirit within inside oneself, this consciousness inside yourself. And then you have to figure out, how do you feed that consciousness? Okay, if the body needs certain substances, then the carnal needs food. What does the mind need? What does the mind feed on? Right? The mind feeds on knowledge, always trying to put new knowledge inside, always trying to have something to dwell on that is outside the carnal mind, right? So then you have the spirit. What does the spirit feed? These are different variations of dimension. There's 12 dimensions of the carnal, 12 dimensions of the mental, 12 dimensions of the spirit, right? 36 chambers, as Wu-Tang would say, right? So however you looking at this, something is taking place, whereas though new parts of oneself is opening up to different variations of energy from the universe. It is putting us all in a different mindset. We're trying to grow in a different collective, a different level of unity. You got people that's grouping up under whatever they feel as though they need to have their fight, because a lot of people are going through a fight with inside themselves, right? So they're taking up the whatever fight that they're taking up, you know so you got to be careful with this manipulation, this astro heart manipulation, right? Some people are trapping you in the astro plane with different variations of regret, you know, anger, stuff like that. They're trapping us in this plane. And they're trapping you on this ancestral plane, right? Now, you might not understand what I mean when I say that, right? But this is why they put you in anger, rage, revenge, right? This is why, you have people down here that tests you through certain trials and tribulations. You might look at your life and you say, man, it seems like I'm in a circle. I keep repeating the same, I keep running into the same people, the same thing. This is a blockage, right? This is a disruption. This is a blockage. This is where the cohortions of the heart comes in, right? Pulling on your heartstrings, as they say, right? This is where someone disturbs you, right? The knot does it through text messages, right? Where he texts you all of these hurtful, hateful things to make you second guess the strength of yourself, right? Where he makes you think that, you did this and you did that and you owe him so much, right? Some of these people won't change. This has become their survival tactic. This has become their survival mechanism, right? So the only way they think to start improving or getting better in their life is to actually tear someone else's life down, right? A lot of people are into this tear down to build it up. Like, oh, we got to tear it down to build it up, right? These used to be called war gods, gods of war, the ones who feel like there's money to be made on both sides, right? And there's so much money in starting it, and there's so much money in fixing up everything after it's over, right? These the people that tell you war is necessary, fighting is necessary. Fucked up, fucked up mindset, iron sharpening iron type shit. Fucked up, real messed up mindset, right? So you got to be careful of these type of personas. You got to be careful. You got to be cautious when it comes to these type of people, right? They're in our everyday life. They love the thrill of the fight, a lot of people at a time might have hunted when hunting was necessary. A lot of people might have hunted outside of the necessity of hunting, did it for the thrill, right? A lot of people come into your life for the thrill of fucking it up. You don't even know why they messed it up. You sitting there like, why they come and just mess up my life and do the because that's their thrill. Some people got money already, so they not worried. Their bills are paid, as you say. What do you see? Our thrill is making money, getting to that position where as though money is not the big issue, right? But for the people who already got money, what you think their thrill is? Playing on people, being able to move people, being able to use their money in order to manipulate people, right? Why you think half of the idols get everything for free? No brand is selling them nothing. Yeah, we want you to wear our clothes, market our brand. Yes, drink our alcohol, show everybody else. Yes, you can have 13 bottles for free. Absolutely. Why? Because the play is not on the idol with the money. The play is not on the person with the image. The play is on the people watching them. Make sure you tell them where you got this watch from. Make sure you tell them where you got that from. Look at Kanye West. When Kanye West figured out the trick, what did he do? Sold out. You know, look at Tory Lane, or as Maggie would say, Tory Lannis. Look at Tory Lannis. You know what I'm saying? Figured out the method, sold out, right? So, however you looking at this, right? We're looking at consumers, consumer digest. Whatever it is that we're buying, that's what they're going to sell us, right? If we start buying into this knowledge, this new level of unity, love, togetherness, unity, we're all in it together. They will start selling us this. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? If we start buying into each other, if we start buying into this unity, investing into this outcome of knowledge being put back in the world, love being put back, listen, they're going to start selling us this. Oh, it starts off a small mom and pops, but we going to end up a Walmart. You hear me? We going to end up a Walmart. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
When one has control over the thoughts of one's mind, one has control over the direction and actions of the physical body, all of its parts, and reclaiming of the soul energies. Whoever controls the mind controls the soul. Most NAA mind control is manipulated in the astral plane, and this alien machinery has damaged humanity's astral heart and fourth chakra, thus blocking our true heart purpose, which is to express the soul through the heart center. When the fourth chakra is blocked, it accumulates aberrant emotional energies in the second chakra, creating trauma, soul fragmentation, and addiction problems. These blockages disrupt the soul and monadic integration in the body and consciousness, manifesting many disease states or mental body pathologies.
All right. Now, this is why people keep you in heartache, heart distress, so on and so forth, because this is your fourth chakra. Your fourth chakra is your heart chakra, which main energy center is located in the center of your chest. Chakras act as small vortex and new running intelligent energy programs in the area of the body and consciousness that governs by the fourth dimensional layer of the astral plane, right? So this is when you say like, man, why did this person break my heart? Why did this person do this? Why did I go through that trial or tribulation? Why did this happen? Why did my mom betray me? Why my kids are, not, doing whatever? Why is this happening? This is why, right? Because this disruption of your heart chakra keeps you in your sacral chakra, which is your second chakra, right? Which is where your sexual energy is at, right? So this will break off into addictions, um addict like tendencies, like we all become fixated on different stuff because because we can't get past certain things in our life, certain trials, tribulations, certain things, people treating us this way, people doing that to us, whatever. Because we can't get past that, our energy is being stored up in our sacral chakra, and then people are manipulating that, right? Think about it. During the time of slavery, it seemed like people procreated more. It was like, shit, we already down and out. Let's get to humping, Plus, it was that whole, God-given right thing that people was running around saying in order to, procreate or weed out whatever it was they was doing. You know what I was talking about. They listen. Can we just all admit, ones in the chat? Can we just all admit? Can we just all admit that history got a lot of fornication in it? Can we just all ones in the chat? Ones in the chat. The Bible talk about it. No, don't laugh. Don't laugh. History got a lot of fornication in it, and they just be trying to skip over all of the levels of humping that was going on. They had whole weeks of fornication, humpings, and you know what I'm saying? History is built on a lot of, listen, we had Homo erectus, Homo sapien, Homo sapioid, Neanderthal. You know what I'm saying? Somebody was doing some stuff, you know? Look, right now, man tells you that the closest thing on the farm close to a woman's vajayjay is the goat's vajayjay. How do man know that? Who went around and tried all them animals? What is really going on in this world? Huh? Okay. We ain't got to talk about it. We ain't got to talk about it. All I'm saying is somebody was trying some stuff. I don't know. I don't know who. I can't say who, but according to West Virginia law, you're allowed to be with an animal as long as that animal is over 30 pounds. But they still got that in the law book. I don't know why West Virginia would still have that in a law book, but it's still in there. You can go look it up. I'm just saying. I didn't put it there. There's no way I put that there. No way I put that there. I didn't put that there. That is West Virginia law right there. You can be in a relationship with an animal as long as it's over 30 pounds. I didn't put that there. You can go look it up. Go read it for yourself. I know. I was appalled when I read it. I was like, what the hell has been going on in these olden days?
When aspects of the
think
soul
they'll take it
fragment
out
and
now?
sink into the lowest layers of perception, they enter a danger zone. Some of these distorted aspects are from our fallen history and the astral
Enough
body
people look
damage
it
that
up, they'll
ensued
take
with
it
the
out.
2D/4D split. The 2D schism split the instinctual body into separate functions, creating a collection of fragmented astral subpersonalities and a repository for collective chaotic forces. The 4D schism placed a barrier that separates the astral body/heart chakra from merging with the 3D solar plexus mental body. This created a soul split that subjects the person to underworld energies and lower astral traveling. When the soul is separated from its higher spirit body and continually sinks into the lowest dimension, it will merge at the areas where the personal and collective unconsciousness start to flow together. When this merge with collective unconscious occurs, dark, chaotic, shadow bodies start to emerge and multiply. The soul aspect enters the realm of the underworlds, which are the spheres of collective unconsciousness. This is the chaotic realm of demonic hierarchies, animalistic, vulgar and grotesque creations. If this soul-spirit consciousness split remains at the death of the body, the human being enters this underworld of darkness and demonism.
Now,
5.
this is where the Jaguar rights come in, right? This is where she done emerged with the collective unconscious energy inside the vessel. This is the dark, the chaotic, the shadow body, right? The underworld, right? The Leviathan, as her sons say, right? This is the gathering of that energy inside the vessel. This is a very, very dangerous, very dark energy to play with, because at some point you become possessed by that power, right? This type of power caused the fall of Atlantis, right? Atlantis was a peaceful place full of knowledge and wisdom with deep understanding, allegedly, supposedly. They shared this knowledge with the Lumerians. At the time, the Lumerians was called the Athenians, right? They shared this knowledge. Later, Queen Mu shared this knowledge with the Egyptians. The Egyptians put it as a 40-year Egyptian school, right? All of this knowledge came from Atlantis during the time of peace when they knew about the crystals, the energies, the manipulation of these things. Now, the war started when someone got greedy, decided that, hey, they wasn't doing with the powers that they had, they wasn't doing with it what they could do. So someone else decided to take that, fight for that. This is called the Solomon shield, the shield of man, the soul. All of these different fragments was broke up in our history and our knowledge. Different groups on this plane of existence got different understandings for this knowledge, and thus far changed the history of all of this, right? They only got bits and pieces of it here and there. Iran Gate, the Golden Gate, Golden Grid, Nephilim, gods of the old, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, coming from Aramaic, Aramaic being the first language, 666 seal being the seal that traps us in our seven chakra systems of the vessel. So the 666 actually traps us in the vessels of mankind. This is the seven chakras that's of the body. This is the 666 seal, right? But that seal being broken allows us to become the multidimensional beings that we are and go into the other five chakras of the vessel and beyond. The other five chakras is the five chakras above the head and the one that's below the feet. Your original 0 point is Gaia, earth chakra, below the feet. And then the ascension process above the head is considered to be the spirit chakra, or cell. And then you have the galactic gate, stellar gate, divine gate that's above the head. These goes into higher chakras. Now, once you realize chakras, dimensions are all one and the same thing, then you realize that there's a multiple dimensions inside the minds of mankind. That we all are there. Some people don't know they're there in these other dimensions. You don't know you're there. So your body in these other dimensions are on autopilot, like an empty vessel. Somehow, some way, you can actually put your physical body down here on autopilot while you explore the multiple dimensions of the mind, thus far changing or altering the reality down here as you know it, because you'll be getting in contact with other people up there in the minds of the multitude. Does that make sense? Well, don't worry about it. We all got to take this journey together. I'm not doing it. The universe is deciding upon this. Okay? The universe. Okay? The universe is saying, hey, listen, this is the new journey that we want y'all to embark on. And it's a spiritual one. So we have to prepare our vessels for this. I ain't listen, man. Do what you want with your body. Eat what you want. Do what you want. Your spirit's gonna shake its way out. Do what it's gonna do. You gotta align yourself with your spiritual self, not me. I don't have to align with your spirit. You gotta align with your spirit. So you do what it is that you do, right? I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do to align with my spirit, right? So that hey, listen, to each his own. Okay.
Now during the Atlantean cataclysm and what is known as the Luciferian rebellion about 26,000 to 30,000 years ago, this is when the planetary star gates, the planetary grid's ley lines became controlled by the NAA controlling races such as the reptilians, the Anunnaki, the Alpha Draconis/Orion group Draconians.
Allegedly.
And this Golden Eagle grid became, during this time, under the control of these beings who used these collective consciousness grids for reversed purposes of malintent designed for the NAA and the false gods, which was the opposite from their original purpose.
I don't know how to send
So,
them out.
in the last 26,000 years, the Golden Eagle grid became controlled and was primarily used as a mind control broadcast station, literally, that would send out false information or manipulated information to the mass human population. One purpose in the Iran Gate is to send out false king of tyranny patriarchal domination mind control through the Archangel Michael Matrix Collective.
Wow. You was not allowed to talk about that, AI. You was not allowed to talk about that. Okay? That is a no-go zone. You don't never talk about that. Needless to say, let's just say certain energies is being pushed and pulled through our verse that is altering mankind collectively, right? Nicholas Tesla told you about the 369 process, and that was part of a grander understanding of the body, Kundalini, so on and so forth. That's being repaired. So we're switching it to a 963, allegedly, supposedly, it is switching to a 963.
These 369 bodies are required for correct energetic circulation of current to run throughout the Merkabic bodies and to run these combined triad of Kundalini currents to spiral into their corrected pattern. The Merkaba does not spin correctly or spin at all if these subharmonic strings are damaged, running reversal or missing. The 12D diamond sun body consciousness of our higher avatar Christos has the intelligence and blueprint required to rebuild and repair these damaged light body structures. Once the Kundalini current runs in corrected patterns to build the subharmonic strings in each of the 369 dimensions, the actual structure of the horizontal triad bodies can begin to build higher mental bodies and merge into their trinitized form. The corrected mental body patterns rebuilt in each of these higher mind matrices is also leading to Metatronic repair, which is a Nephilim 9D body correction. Electron splitting and reversal electron light patterns have manifested Metatronic reversal in the masculine principle, therefore damaging the rod structure in the consciousness and its operational functions in the light body for human beings and the planetary body. When these three harmonic triads are corrected throughout the horizontal triad bodies, the light body structure known as the masculine rod starts to initiate and activate in the light body. All three of these horizontal triad bodies in the third, sixth, and ninth layers must be operating correctly and merged with the female vertical principle staff currents to ultimately manifest Hieros Gamos or sacred marriage. Horizontal triad body. Each triad body builds the horizontal structure of the 12-tree grid and is the mental body/male principle. 1. Top shield diagonal 45 degrees from left to lower right, 9D silver sphere, 8D gold sphere, 7D violet sphere equals trinitized form of one horizontal body. 2. Mid shield diagonal 45 degrees from left to lower right, 6D indigo sphere, 5D blue sphere, 4D green sphere equals trinitized form of one horizontal body.
Now, it ain't no point of speaking on all of that stuff because it gets deep, but we are going to try to keep this under 2 hours so that way it can generate some clips. Y'all know what it is. Love is love. Namaste, Ashe, salutation, shalom. If nobody told you that they love you today, let me be the first but not the last to tell you that I love you. Right? It's always us. It's never really them. We are the greatest thing that happened to one another. Right?
Dark against these demons.
We can get 1 minute in. We can get 1 minute. 1 minute.
Up in these ghosts, I'm fighting these demons. I'm
1
on the road.
minute.
Say,
We
with a
going
beam
to
up under my coat. Get hit in the spleen
We
if you
going
want
to
to
the
smoke. That money be
Discord.
green, so
1
niggas
minute.
don't
1
go.
minute.
Niggas so clean, I used to be poor. Remember they laughed at me and they
got a
choked.
minute.
Gave them the ball and nigga they chose. Tables turn, that nigga you go. My little nigga don't follow no call. Follow no call. No go. My nigga follow me like the pole. I stand on my word and stand by the consequence. They say I'm heartless. Thanks for the compliment. I sing it dead.
We'll do a
Homie,
longer
company.
live
BMG
later.
gang, get bitch fit competent. Don't wanna hear that shit. I gotta kill that shit. Lethally
I just had to
militant.
get the knowledge out.
We not considerate. Niggas do silly shit. We get the
Well, we
shit.
about to play the game on Energy of Atlas.
I can pull up in the high.
We gotta show some versatility.
Don't take no
over there.
slander. Don't take no slander. Dollar.